What's going on, guys? It's Evan and Solomon with OneIMS. Today we're going to be talking about a question which I think is very interesting. How often should I blog? The first thing I would say is don't blog to blog, but I want to see what Solomon has to say.
No, absolutely. I think, first of all, let's talk about content creation, right? What it is it helps you create content on a regular basis. Blog is probably the best thing that you can do to, tie in the keywords that you're trying to optimize for your industry, for your company. There's not a lot of other ways to do that other than to create content consistently. So if you can blog on a consistent basis, that's a plus, right? Yes, I do agree with you that you shouldn't blog to blog. I get that because a lot of people, that's what they do. They wake up and say, it's every Monday, I need to come up with a blog post. Let's just create something. And after 6 months, they all sound the same. They look the same. There's really no reason for somebody to go back and check it out. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, basically, I see people write so many. I'm writing 4 blogs a month. However, you're writing a blog maybe on something that's very broad or very hard to rank for because it's so broad.
Right.
And you're not going to get any visibility. So I would say maybe we write a blog on a long tail keyword that doesn't have a lot of search volume, right? You could have 10 or 20 search volume. Great.
Right.
If we're capturing all of that, that's better than writing on a blog that's broad that we're not going to capture anything for.
All right. So consistency. That's number one. That's something that everyone should be doing, whether it's content creation, your social content, your blog, whatever it might be. You need to be consistent. However, what I'm suggesting and what you're suggesting is do some research so that you're creating the right type of content rather than just any kind of content, right?
Yeah.
So you don't want to have any content that sort of duplicate, right? You don't want to have 5 blogs that looks the same, are optimized for the same keyword. And what is that term called?
Cannibalization.
Cannibalization. That's right. You don't want to have 5, 6, 10,
right.
15
We don't
pages.
want our other keywords to eat, the same keyword.
Exactly. So consistency, and I would probably say research. Would you agree?
Yeah.
And having the research, whether the content is created in-house or the content is produced by somebody outside, maybe you have a freelancer, a contractor, an agency, somebody else that's doing the content. I would say tremendous amount of research will need to be put into it. So you're creating in-depth content that is useful. What about like content consolidation? So you'll have written about this topic, but 5 different blogs, but you kind of consolidated.
Right.
So you have one sort of pillar content or skyscraper or whatever it might be.
Yeah, so we actually do that, every day. We have clients that we're working on that now because they have so many blogs they come to us with. We combine topics together that are related, or we do, keyword research to see if they are related and if we can rename that topic. And then, like Solomon was saying, essentially combine the content so we're having less pages, but we have more valuable pages.
Correct. And essentially Google loves that, by the way, because Google knows that this is the most in-depth, most relevant piece of content that you can put for that website, right? So you get to get higher rankings just because of the depth. And also if somebody's actually looking for that content, if it's really in depth, they're more likely to share the content.
Right.
So you're more likely to get earn a backlink because of it rather than a 300-word blog post that really barely touches the subject and doesn't really get you anywhere. And what other things can we talk about when you would think about blogging?
Yeah, just in general with any, pages or posts on your website, interlink those to things that are relevant, right?
That's awesome.
We're writing a blog, for example, on, car radios and how we can repair your car radio. But let's say we also sell car radios too. Maybe, after we talk about those car radios, we could say, common, car radio problems. We talk about the problems, common car radios we can fix, and we list those pages and then interlink back to all of our car radios for each manufacturer. Those are things like that too, right? Oh, so they read and they trust you and they found what they're looking for, and then they can easily navigate to the page they need to, rather than going back to the top of your website or the homepage and trying to find what they're looking for.
And you're sort of starting off with education content, sort of leading them to that sale because you want to lead with education.
We're building the trust, essentially.
Essentially, yeah. Again, you're building the trust and you're also educating them, and blog really lets you educate that. What about using blogs for your lead nurturing emails, right? Because most of the time people have these questions before they commit to making a purchase, and those questions should be turned into blog content and then use that content for lead nurturing. So you need a lot of content at the end of the day.
Right. So we get asked FAQs all day long, hundreds of them.
Right.
And we just new ones every day. And I think what we've discovered is the same kind of thing. We use those FAQs to our advantage because what is everyone asking and how can we get that to them easily? Correct. So the barrier to entry is down. And, once again, we're building that trust. And so what Solomon just brought up is a great point, kind of using blogs in your emails.
Sure.
But making those blogs maybe around frequently asked questions that people are actually interested in.
Correct.
Not just educational content. Because one day I might feel like learning, one day I might not. But if it's something I need to know that I'm interested in, and it's a frequently asked question that a lot of people are asking, I think your open rate would be better.
Right. So there's a lot of things that you could do with blog. First of all, if you don't have one or you haven't consistently blogging, that would be a first place to start, because you can always consolidate. I mean, even if you had poor, you know what I mean? Like you didn't have the length,
right.
You didn't have a strategy in place, you can always consolidate and do 3-in-1 redirects and let Google know they're all one post now. But I can't, emphasize enough the starting part. So I'd say start no matter what, and then be consistent with it. Put the research that you need. So if you don't know what keywords, you don't know how to do keyword research, you don't know what, sort of topics are popular and what people want to hear, figure out some tools that you can get, some keyword research, or work with a partner and figure that out. And then slowly but surely go towards having pillar content, which is essentially where the industry is at today. Everyone understands that you need to create content at length, super length, and then figure out how you can basically outrank anyone else who's trying to optimize for that same exact term, right? How do you get most links to the site, and also use that power of that content to link to the services pages that you want to optimize and rank for. And a lot of times when we've done our research, just more interlinking actually have helped the site rank better, which we could have never done had we not had a blog.
Right.
So there's a lot that you can do with it. And finally, using the content that you have as your assets, inventory, the whole entire content. I love to do an inventory so I know that I have already blogged about these topics, so I shouldn't have to write about it, right? Because you're always checking that out rather than just writing the same thing over and over just because it sounds good. And then finally, using that for anyone that's coming into wanting to become a customer, top of funnel, just requested information. You can send them an email that says, hey, here are the top 10 questions people ask when they're trying to work with us. That makes your life easier because you've already created all the content, all the stuff up front, and reuse that to your advantage, right, from a sales perspective. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, I think the final thought from a blog, would be, like I said, not to blog, but let's blog to essentially eat, right? Expertise, authority, build trust, and, get those people to actually like our quality content rather than having quantity of content that's not being seen.
I say there's nothing more than the quality part. I think quantity is easy. You can hire someone, anyone, to write a whole bunch of content. In fact, they would not even know the industry. They'll be able to write the content because they'll just take somebody else's content, paraphrase it, rewrite it, and all of a sudden you have content. But is that really going to help you grow, right? Is it really useful content? So yeah, I think from a Google's perspective, Google's way more interested in quality over quantity, and that's why they're writing all these algorithms, right? Because people can duplicate content, they can spin the content, they can do all kinds of stuff just to get content. But what you cannot get is, sort of like fake engagement. People go to the website, they engage with it, how much time they scroll, that you need really good quality content. So over time, I'd say the emphasis has to be on quality over quantity, and use these, guidelines to help you out from that question. So yeah, thanks a lot for asking that question, and we'll see you next time.